Hey, beautiful, what are you doing? So you're really 14. Do you like big?
Oh, my God. What do we do about the fact that if you're a teenage girl and you go online, you're going to get this many messages from creeps, basically? My name's Johnny Pelham, and I'm a stand-up comedian. Hello, Apollo! How are we doing? We well? My comedy's personal, political, and no topic is off limits. I actually had sex for the first time when I was 8 with a man who was acting very immorally. I'm also a child sexual abuse survivor, and in 2019, I wrote a comedy show about my experiences. Everyone's bragging about how young they had sex on Freshers' Week. One guy was like, I had sex for the first time when I was 15. Another guy, that's nothing. I had sex for the first time when I was 14. And I really remember thinking, I've got an ace in the deck here. The show really connected with people, and I was shocked by how many people got in touch with me to talk about their own personal experience of childhood sexual abuse. I was stunned to hear how many people suffer in silence, particularly when I know it was only when I started talking about it that I started healing. I want to look at why so many children continue to be abused, how we can make it easier to talk about, and what we can do to try and stop it.
Try kicking me, go on! I swear to God, it'll be the biggest mistake of your life. You come to me an 8-year-old, are you?
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did. Don't try resisting.
Over 1,000 children are sexually abused every day in this country, and online abuse is rising exponentially. Our system isn't working. So some people are taking it into their own hands to hunt for online predators. One of the crazy things about the failing system is that there's now sort of networks of vigilante groups online who hunt down child sexual abusers. And sometimes their tactics can seem quite heavy-handed. But I'm really interested in talking to them to find out why they feel the need to go after potential abusers off their own back.
Right, what's he done? Don't!
I haven't fucking done anything, man!
Hello.
Hello, Joe.
How are you, Johnny? How are you?
I'm good, how are you? Lovely to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Come on in. There you go.
For the last 4 years, Joe's gone after would-be abusers by posing online as a child and gathering evidence from the police, with 30 stings already under her belt. But she's also a mum. She lives with her partner Mike and their cats and provides customer service support in a call centre. So, lovely to meet you, Joe. I wasn't expecting you to be like you are. I don't mean that offensively, but when I was told I was going to meet someone who sort of catches paedophiles, I was expecting, I don't know, like someone with like a beard and a motorbike. And like, you're not the stereotype, are you?
Try not to be.
The moment before a catch, what's your feeling? Are you nervous? Are you excited? Are you anxious?
It's usually a massive adrenaline rush, and the relief when you get that person and they admit that, yes, this is me.
So how would you describe what you do? Would you call yourself like a paedophile hunter or a paedophile vigilante?
I don't like being called a vigilante. It's a very negative connotation. Like you said, you just imagine people that just want to beat other people up, so a bit of street justice, but that's not what it's about. It's about gathering the evidence, getting the person and handing it all over.
Do you ever worry about the potential risk to the person you're exposing when you put their videos out online?
I worry about the risk to their family, but I think it's not a bad thing to bring notoriety to how many people there are in the world that are offending. It's very much a case of out of sight, out of mind. So at least if we're showing people this is what they look like, this is what's happened, then people maybe will start to realise how big of an issue this is. Ooh,
so do you do it on your phone? For some reason I thought it would be... Oh, I thought it'd be a laptop job.
Well, no, because the police confiscate it, so I would much rather they confiscate a phone.
In order to catch would-be abusers in the act, Joe poses as a child in an online chat room, a tactic known as decoying.
So I did have trouble sourcing some decoy pictures, so I edited some photos of me.
Wow.
Yep. In this instance, I've set it up so I feel like I look about 14. We try and think what kids would put in. In this one, I've put teen chat. So I'm just going to put, hi, I'm actually 14, but looking for friends. And then it's a case of, wait.
Oh my God, someone's already messaged her.
Yep. His first message to me, this gentleman is 63.
Oh my God.
He put cute girl, and then question marks on 14, and then a smiley face. So this gentleman, he's 41.
41?
So he's asked me what I'm doing.
This is so creepy, isn't it?
Yeah.
I feel like I want to, like, chuck the phone out of the room. You know what I mean? Or, like get it out.
Yeah.
Do you not think the punishment these people are getting through the legal system is strong enough?
I don't have a lot of faith in the sentencing side of things.
Is there an example you have of, like, a person who did a certain thing who got what you would see as a far too lenient sentence?
The worst one I've had is someone who has physically come to a meeting, admitted to meeting underage girls before. All the evidence was solid, and he got a community order.
That's pretty incredible. I thought that if you got caught with, like, child abuse material, you were sort of likely to go to jail.
I think it's just a sheer scale. It's physically not possible to have everyone in prison. There's now 64 messages.
So you've got 64 messages in half an hour?
Around that, yep. Hey, beautiful, what are you doing? What are you up to today? So you're really 14. Do you like big dick?
So he's very clear that you're 14?
Absolutely,
It's not
yeah.
like he's missed that on your profile?
No, on this one I've put it in the comments like I have with everything else. This is the gentleman that sent the photo straight away, which was interesting.
And so that was an explicit image?
Of himself, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, to a 14-year-old.
Yes.
What the fuck do we do about the fact that if you're a teenage girl and you go online, you're gonna get this many messages from creeps, basically?
Yeah. I'm shocked still.
Yeah.
And the scale of it is huge.
If you've got someone for a sting, have things ever gone wrong for you?
Not for me personally, but in other teams, yes. We've had a gentleman whose finger was bitten off.
Fucking hell.
He was extremely violent from the get-go. And
You know, you don't bite your finger off, you've got to start somewhere, haven't you? You don't go from zero to finger biter.
No, you don't know.
What about at a sting when there is a danger to either yourself or the perpetrator or the perpetrator's family?
Our job then turns to protecting that suspect in any way we can, because we have to deliver them to the authorities in one piece.
But I imagine that guy could probably never go back to his home again, and the family of the person will not be able to live there happily anymore.
I've really tried not to do door knocks if I can, because it isn't fair to put the family through that. The person's done it, not the family.
So the neighbours can kick off and you're having to bundle people out of the back door. Isn't this a job for the police, really?
I would more than happily just give the evidence and let the police do the job. I shouldn't have to go out and leave my child here and, you know, go and confront someone. I feel like I have to, because who else is going to?
I like Joe, but I am feeling quite torn. You know, on the one hand, a lot of prosecutions for online grooming involve evidence provided by vigilantes, so they are doing good work, but they are sort of unaccountable, they are untrained, and I just don't know if that's really what we want our society to look like. I guess my main thought is just like, how the fuck have we got in this situation? We're the sixth richest country in the world. Why the hell are we relying on people like Joe to keep our children safe? It's ridiculous, really. I want to get a sense of the number of potential abusers who are out there and to understand why someone would ever offend against a child. So I'm going to speak to Nicholas Blagden, who is a clinical psychologist who studies sexual deviancy. And so I'm just sort of trying to brush up on what I want to say to him. And I've just typed into Google the sexual offences, crime and misconduct. And it turns out if you type that into Google, you'll get a lot of fucking weird pop-ups. I'm definitely on a register and might be going to jail. Thanks very much for coming to talk to us.
No problem at all.
Do you have any sense of how many paedophiles there are in the UK at the moment?
So there's studies that show in sort of nationally representative samples that around about 5% of individuals will have sexual interest in children. That raises to almost 20% when it's any potential interest in children. So not like your main fantasies are about children, but any potential fantasy about children raises to 20%. It's a much larger number than people think it is.
That's 1 in 5 people have a possibility of being attracted to a child. That feels like it's sort of impossible to even comprehend that number, I think.
First, I think it's really important that we make a distinction between paedophile and people who offend sexually against children, because there is a real difference. A paedophile is someone with an entrenched sexual interest to prepubescent children, so children under the age of 13. Of the people that are arrested and convicted of a child's sexual offence, 20 to 50% of those are people with an entrenched sexual interest in children who will be paedophilic. There's loads of individuals that will be struggling with these atypical sexual interests who will never abuse children.
That feels amazing to me, that you're saying that a lot of child sexual abusers aren't paedophiles and that most paedophiles do not sexually abuse children. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Having a sexual interest in children is neither a sufficient or necessary condition for child sexual abuse.
So why, if you're not sexually attracted to children, would you have sex with a child?
I mean, if you think about it as human beings, like, we are end-to-end programmed to belong, to have meaningful relationships. And one of the things that we find with people who abuse sexually against children is that they often have intimacy deficits, a lack of, meaningful social relationships. And what sort of happens is the relationship with the child almost becomes a surrogate for the sort of adult relationship.
I struggle to understand that. It feels difficult to comprehend someone not knowing what they're doing is wrong, I guess.
I think you're right. I think some of it is these narratives that people tell themselves. It's a belief that children can consent, for example, or that the relationship's loving, or that sort of thing. So that's one of the things that would be worked on in intervention.
I was talking to someone the other day who said 1,000 children are sexually abused every day currently in the UK. And I guess I was just wondering what you think we could be doing differently.
We could be doing much better. The main problem, I think, is from a rehabilitative standpoint. We're trying to stop abuse from reoccurring as opposed to stop it occurring. A lot of our guys will say things like, I went to the GP and I got rejected there. I went to a therapist, the therapist didn't want to know, they didn't want to talk to me about this sort of thing. And there isn't anything that people can really access before these things happen.
My conversation with Nick challenged what I knew about paedophilia. So I wanted to look at some of the rehabilitative work done by Nick with paedophiles and sexual abusers.
So these are the measures that we use to map onto different risk and protective factors that are important for this particular client group. Some of those risk factors are around sort of social relationships, but important protective factors may be things like, hope, being believed in.
So I guess what I noticed about a lot of these tests seem like they refer to quite common emotional responses. For instance, it says here, I tend to overreact to situations. I sometimes overreact to situations. So these could be talking about me, and yet I've never sexually abused a child. Do you sometimes feel like you're sort of making excuses for these people who are doing these sort of really terrible, heinous crimes?
I'm acutely aware that it can sort of come across like that. But one of the things that we're absolutely clear about is that it's never an excuse for any sort of sexual offence. But the heart of the work that I do is about keeping children safe. We can't do that by shaming individuals. We look at the research, we look at what's important for people as they progress into the community. And so that's why we actively work in terms of de-shaming, destigmatising, separating them from what may be sort of sexual thoughts, and focusing on what they sort of want out of life.
I understand rehabilitation, but the damage done to the child surely has to be taken into account when we're giving these custodial sentences to people.
Absolutely. It will have really severe impacts on people's lives. And obviously that people need to be punished for that. But 99% of the people that are in prison for sexual convictions will be released. So even if we extend sentences a little bit, we've still got the problem of what do we do with individuals when they come back into the community. So we need really evidence-based intervention for people as they transition, not just in prison, but as they transition from prison into the community.
I found both my conversation with Joe and with Nick pretty staggering, really. Nick told me that 5% of the population are paedophilic. Joe got 60 messages from creeps in like half an hour. The scale of this problem is insane. And what's so infuriating is they both spoke to me of systemic failure. You know, we're failing, and we're failing again. And when the cost of failure is so high, that just feels completely unacceptable, you know? It's just fucked.